Every year, hundreds of thousands of pets are lost or stolen, leaving behind devastated families. It doesn't have to be this way. PediMark microchips store all the information you need to get your pet home safely. No need for that sometimes stressful trip to the vet. Visit PediMark.com today and a qualified microchip implanter can visit your home to microchip your pet in comfort. Quick, easy and safe. PediMark, helping your best friend get home. PediMark, proud sponsors of Pets for Life.
Hello and welcome to Pets for Life. Today we'll be hearing from some more experts who will share with us their wealth of knowledge in relation to responsible pet ownership. We believe it's fair to say that the UK is still a nation of animal lovers. Unfortunately, there is not enough education and guidance out there, and many pet owners are simply not aware as to the extent of their responsibilities. On average, only 45% of pet owners feel they are familiar with the Animal Welfare Act. We spoke to the Blue Cross to find out more.
At the Blue Cross we do work closely with lots of different organisations, and we are very often working towards a common goal. You know, we want people to understand how to look after animals, we want to be in a position to help as many animals as possible. So it's important that we do work closely with other charities, other organisations like the police, local councils, and there's an awful lot more that we can do by working in collaboration with those organisations. So we do work closely with the RSPCA, and we will work to care for all the animals that we both see. So the RSPCA might be called out to rescue animals, we may then be asked to take them in, so we do work closely with them, and that's really important. And the Blue Cross also works closely with the Society for Companion Animal Studies, and that's our sister charity, and they do a lot of research into the bond between humans and animals, and that's really important because here at the Blue Cross we're not just here to look after animals, we actually do look after people, and we see the benefits that animals have for people, and that's really important. So we like to work closely with people like SCAS who help to reinforce that.
Small mammals are very popular for a first-time pet, especially for families with young children. We spoke to Supreme Pet Food to find out more.
I think you have to consider your lifestyle and the amount of time that you're going to have to devote to a pet, the amount of space you have, the amount of finances you have to devote to a pet as well. Because certainly when you're starting to look at things like rabbits, vaccinations and vet checks and things like that can mount up financially. And certainly rabbits need quite a lot of space outside. You know, you can't just keep them in a small hutch at the end of the garden. Quite a lot of small furry animals can be kept quite well inside the house as well as in the garden. And quite a lot of people have house rabbits and devote an entire room to the rabbit, or have periods during the day where the rabbits are out and supervised and the house is rabbit proof so they can't chew the wires and the computer cords and that kind of thing. And it works very, very well, just in the same way as people have house cats. And smaller pets certainly are quite easy to have within the bedroom and that kind of thing, so that they can have daily interaction with the family and the children can bond and have a closer relationship with the animal. All animals' cages should really be checked every day, and if there's a lot of mess, it needs to be cleaned up when it happens. Certainly the inside enclosures for rabbits and gerbils can be cleaned out once a week as long as there's no hideous mess in there. But the food bowls and the water bowls need to be cleaned out much more frequently than that, and certainly need to be checked every day.
When it comes to the financial side of owning an animal, it seems that only around 5% of pet owners are anywhere near estimating the true cost. Almost a third of people think a pet costs 10 times less than it actually does. It's a lack of awareness that can create a situation where abandonment seems like the only logical option. It isn't.
My name is Richard Saunders. I'm the veterinary advisor to the Rabbit Welfare Association and Fund, and I spend a day a week or so answering queries from vets in practice assisting with veterinary input into campaigns and strategy and so on. The Rabbit Welfare Association and Fund is the largest charity devoted to purely rabbit welfare and helps to campaign for improvements in rabbit conditions, to educate owners and vets, and has its own website with lots of advice and information. Rabbiting On is a quarterly magazine for RWAF members, and it's packed with news, information, advice and features and photos, and carries a lot of information about both the veterinary care of rabbits and their general health, husbandry and welfare. The welfare of domestic pet rabbits in the UK is tragically poor, with a lot of rabbits given insufficient space, incorrect diets and housed singly, whereas there are social species that should be housed together. So we work to kind of try to improve that welfare throughout the UK. I don't think it should be a question of what makes a good pet, but what makes an owner able to care for a particular species, a particular animal. And they need to provide them with food, water, space, companionship, keeping them free from disease and providing the correct healthcare to prevent disease problems occurring, such as vaccination and neutering. Well, rabbits are often thought of as a children's pet, but they are fragile, delicate animals who don't enjoy being picked up and very often find a child quite overpowering and intimidating and scary. So they are much better as a pet for stable, grown adults or older children with a particularly passionate interest in them. If you're looking to have a house rabbit, you should seek advice on rabbit proofing your house before you acquire the rabbit. The RWAF website is a good site to go to for information. We have a downloadable leaflet, Hey, I'm a House Rabbit. But a few simple things you can do include encasing any electrical wires within tubing or plastic piping, making sure that you don't keep your favourite furniture in the rabbit's enclosure, and perhaps avoiding the sort of raffia type furniture, bamboo furniture that you'd have in a conservatory, because that makes a great rabbit food. It's important that fibre is provided in the form of hay or grass, natural foodstuffs for rabbits, rather than providing bark or twigs or trees for them to chew. While they like that, and it provides important environmental enrichment, it provides no dental wear for the rabbit.
When you're keeping small furry animals, what you need to do is to have a look at what their behaviour is normally like in the wild. So, for example, things like hamsters are quite desert animals, and they do benefit from having sand or chinchilla sand often to bathe in and dig and burrowing. And equally, gerbils, again, very similar, they enjoy burrowing and digging. So having some kind of substrate, something within the enclosure that allows them to fulfil that natural behaviour is always a help. Gerbils are notoriously slightly less handleable than most hamsters. They're a little bit more skittish and highly strung, and certainly possibly prone to biting. However, I think gentle, calm, consistent handling will tend to bond trust with any animal and make them more easy to handle. I mean, I think the first thing that I would say is that we shouldn't regard these pets, because they don't cost a lot to buy, as disposable. So as well as feeding costs and that kind of thing, the cost of buying a suitable enclosure or living space for the animal, you've also got the potential cost of things like veterinary fees and that type of thing. And certainly these days you can get insurance for rabbits and for guinea pigs and some of the other small furries, specifically ferrets and that kind of thing as well, and that does help. Equally, the other thing to remember with rabbits and ferrets is that they require vaccinating, and again that's a cost every 6 to 12 months, in addition to food and other medical costs. This little guy, you can see, is very active, and what he needs is a nice big enclosure to be able to get lots of exercise. A nice little hide box like I've got on my knee. There are two basic types of hamster. The larger Syrian hamsters are typically kept on their own, and they're very well known for mostly being very handleable, and again calm, consistent handling helps to tame them. And the small hamsters, the Russian dwarves and that type of thing, are usually kept in pairs or in colonies, and they have quite a strong social hierarchy, so they are best kept in groups. I think that they're quite Catholic in their taste, definitely. So a wide variety of fresh food, sensible, not too high fat, not too many nuts and seeds, some fresh food, hay, and a good quality pelleted diet will, make certain that they're nutritionally satisfied.
A lot of people get a rabbit or a guinea pig as a child's pet, and then as the child loses interest they then hand the animal over to us or they get left in the bottom of a garden in a hutch, in which case then they come into us as well. All of the rabbits from here are neutered before they go out, unless they are baby rabbits, in which case we do send them out with a neutering document to ensure that the owners do get them neutered when they are big enough to be neutered. Rabbits tend to prefer to be left on the floor and given attention while they're on the floor. They're much more adaptable to staying on the floor and having toys and things to play with, opposed to guinea pigs, which they don't mind being picked up and cuddled as much. They do need a lot more space than what most people think. We do have our recommended hutch sizes, and we do, if you can get as big a hutch as possible, then that's brilliant.
Join us after the break to find out more about our animal friends in the UK. See you soon.
You work hard to make sure you are giving them the best food for a healthy lifestyle. Growing up and learning to be responsible for their pet is a great way to help them discover the benefits of a good, balanced diet. With Supreme Science Selective, you can be confident every nugget is packed with all the nutrition Bunny needs, just like their lunchbox.
Every year, hundreds of thousands of pets are lost or stolen, leaving behind devastated families. It doesn't have to be this way. PediMark microchips store all the information you need to get your pet home safely. No need for that sometimes stressful trip to the vet. Visit PediMark.com today and a qualified microchip implanter can visit your home to microchip your pet in comfort. Quick, easy and safe. PediMark, helping your best friend get home.
If you love rabbits, you'll love the Rabbit Welfare Association and Fund. Why not join and become a member of the only charity in the UK dedicated to pet rabbits? As well as supporting our work, you'll also get 4 issues of our wonderful Rabbiting On magazine, which is packed with information and advice. Join today, treat yourself, and help us to help rabbits, because a hutch is not enough.
Barney loved his owner. He thought his owner would always love him. Hungry, frightened, and alone, Barney is just one of thousands of animals taken in by the Blue Cross every year because nobody wants them. Will you give just £2 a month to the Blue Cross? Will you help save the life of a homeless animal like Barney? He relies on us now, but we rely on you. £2 a month can help us go on caring day after day until we find just the right home for Barney, however long it takes.
I don't think so. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Okay then.
Sorry, we'll look at it.
Okay, bye-bye.
Please help. Visit our website and give £2 a month. We're counting on your support.
You work hard to make sure you are giving them the best food for a healthy lifestyle. Growing up and learning to be responsible for their pet is a great way to help them discover the benefits of a good, balanced diet. With Supreme Science Selective, you can be confident every nugget is packed with all the nutrition Bunny needs, just like their lunchbox.
Welcome back. We've heard from our experts about a range of pet issues and we'll be heading back to them for more specialist advice soon. But first, we go back to the Blue Cross to find out more about animal welfare.
We've got 5 baby rabbits in at the moment that are currently 16 weeks old and they are already sexually active. They came in as part of an unwanted litter. The previous owners thought that they had 2 female rabbits, however it turned out to be a male and female. The obviously produced an unwanted litter, and they ended up coming into us due to the mother rabbit having to have an emergency sort of hysterectomy. So we've hand reared them since about a week of age. And they've all got new homes to go to as and when they'll be ready, when they're fully vaccinated. Hand rearing is really important for them. Obviously they were completely dependent on us from the moment that they came in, so obviously we did have to syringe feed them from arrival. They are very, very bonded to people now because they've had to have that bond with us, and obviously they were completely reliant on us, so it's quite nice that when they're out in a run they will run straight over to you to sort of have that affection, so rabbits can really provide one-on-one sort of company for humans. Rabbits even as young as this at 16 weeks old are already sexually active, so it's really important of when they are an appropriate age, which is about 6 months, that they are neutered as and when ready. Rabbits are notorious for having sort of quick gestation periods, so will breed readily and very, very quickly, and it can be easy for rabbit populations to get out of control. So as soon as they reach that age, please do neuter, and that's something we definitely will encourage. Rabbits do make great house sort of companions, especially for rabbits that may not necessarily enjoy the company of other rabbits. Humans can provide that stimulation for them, but it's really important to make sure that the environment you're putting them in the home is safe and secure for rabbits, so they're not going to damage or injure themselves. And in a way they're kind of like cats because you can litter train them as well, so they are actually quite clean, unlike people think that they're not.
Okay, so we've got the 2 rabbits in here, and at the moment they're eating their pelleted food. And can you see that the pellets look all the same?
Yes.
So every pellet has the same thing in it, and that means that every mouthful is a properly balanced diet. So that's sensible, isn't it?
Yes.
And then if we look at the rest of the cage, they've got lots of grass. And what's that in there?
Hay.
Hay. Loads and loads of hay, as much hay as they can eat. And then later on they might have some vegetables as well. What else can we see? What else is important for these rabbits in this cage? It's over there.
Water.
Water. So as much water as they want to drink as well. And those are the most important things for rabbits. The specific issues with rabbits, obviously the need to provide them regularly with hay and fresh food in addition to pelleted food, and recognising that a hutch isn't enough. And so a small hutch where they're penned in all day, every day, will not be suitable accommodation. Companionship's vitally important to the rabbit, and I think that we do recommend these days that most rabbits be housed as bonded pairs. And it's quite important to remember that just because you've got 2 rabbits, it doesn't mean that those 2 rabbits will get on. So it's worthwhile having a rescue centre or somebody experienced help you with selecting the right pair of rabbits for you. And it's vital for the rabbit psychologically. And if it's not possible to have a bonded pair, then to either become the bonded partner for that rabbit, or to provide a soft toy or something like that as a second choice, so that it's got something to at least cling to. Right, so this is the guinea pig's hutch, and you can see that it's got lots of nice soft bedding, and this is his private hidey hole, so that if he wants to be away from everybody he can get away. He can get out of the sun and that type of thing as well. And you can see right at the front there he's got a big thing of hay, and again, just like rabbits, guinea pigs need to have plenty of hay to wear their teeth down.
And they've also got the same...
Yep, they've got the same type of food, and again it's something called a pelleted or monocomponent diet, and it means that every mouthful has the correct nutrition in it. And the very, very important thing with guinea pigs is that they have enough vitamin C. And do you know what vitamin C, what food is vitamin C in?
Fruit.
Fruits, and quite a lot of vegetables actually as well, and they can't produce it in their body, so just like humans they need to have a good source of vitamin C, and there's a good source of vitamin C in their pelleted food there. Well, certainly you can keep guinea pigs and what have you outside as long as the hutch is well insulated. You don't need to provide heat and things like that, but you have to remember that all of these small furry animals are prey species apart from the ferret, and so they can be quite intimidated kept outside if they're not well enclosed. Now, I think guinea pigs certainly do better at least in pairs, but they also can be kept in groups, and particularly if you have more than one male within the group, then all of the males should be preferably neutered. Otherwise you can get a bit of fighting and bullying. But I think it's important to remember that when all animals are kept in groups, you need a big enough space to do that. So space for animals to run away if they are being bullied, and you know, hiding places that just fit the one guinea pig so that they can't, you know, they can get away from aggression if they need to.
We do get a lot of sort of chinchillas, degus and rats in, and something like this is an ideal setup, and it gives them enough room to sort of move around and climb. We wouldn't recommend anything with a wire floor because they can get what you call bumblefoot, which is something birds can be prone to when they're sat in an area for a long place, and it's sort of like hardening and thickening of the skin on the feet. So I'd recommend to sort of have a soft flooring in the cage. When chinchillas come into us, we will provide them with a dust bath, and that's sort of fine grains of sand. When chinchillas are handled and they feel like they have a greasy coat, so a really important part is to give them a dust bath so that they can get that grease off their coat by rolling around in a dust bath.
Some of the other issues that owners don't consider before acquiring a rabbit as a house pet are that they will take a certain amount of clearing up after. Even litter-trained rabbits produce a certain amount of pellets on the carpet, and their hay and their fur will also make a little bit of a mess, so they must be cleared up after carefully. Rabbit allergies are quite common, and allergy to rabbit fur can result in quite severe kind of hay fever signs, which needs to be considered. And there are health worries for the rabbits themselves. Toxic house plants within easy nibbling reach or electrical cables can be a problem for the rabbit. It's vitally important for rabbits to be able to have access to an enclosure, an outside run with a hutch only forming a small part of that, a shelter within that larger enclosure. If you haven't got the space for a rabbit outside to exhibit its normal behaviour of running, jumping, playing, then a rabbit simply isn't the pet for you. It's vitally important to get your rabbits neutered. Unneutered rabbits can lead to aggression between rabbits, causing severe injuries, unwanted pregnancies and unwanted babies, and disease problems such as uterine cancer. Well, by far the most common health problem in rabbits is dental disease. Rabbits' teeth grow continuously throughout their lifetime, and if they're not kept in check by a steady source of fibre in their diets, then they can become overlong and they can penetrate through the wall of the cheek or into the tongue and cause great pain and death by starvation. Rabbits can suffer from cancer in the same way as humans can, and probably the most common cancer in rabbits is uterine cancer, which is completely preventable by early neutering. Rabbits suffer from two different species of mange mite. One lives on the skin and causes irritation and fur loss, but is not terribly life-threatening. The other species affects the ears and can cause profound pain, deep pain within the ears, and very, very sore skin around the head sometimes.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some newspaper down in the bottom of the cage and covers some of the grid, and then he's going to help me put some of this in. So we've got water, we've got bedding. What else do we need? What do we need in here?
Food. Hay.
Food and hay. Shall we get some food and hay? Let them explore. Come on, sweetheart. You're smart. I think
Is it
it's a
hay?
tame one. Do you want to have a quick stroke? He's not at all stressed by this.
Yeah, that's a wild
And that's the more wild one.
Yeah, that's
Sweet
what I
mate. There you go.
Yay.
You found water. I think people either love or hate rats, and I think there's no middle ground really. And there are a lot of very, very dedicated and committed rat owners, and I think rats can be very cool pets, and they're actually a very interactive and good pet for children, simply because you can train them to a degree. They do become part of the family. They have very distinctive personalities, and they can be a lot of fun to own. They are a lot more active than perhaps hamsters and gerbils and that kind of thing, and they benefit from those sort of quite large enclosures that have a lot of interesting things to play in and that kind of thing. And they also like to snuggle up. You can buy little sort of fleece bags and they'll snuggle up and sleep in those, and as I say, they are quite fun animals to keep.
If people have any concerns about the health of their rabbit, they should seek veterinary advice as soon as possible. Rabbits are a prey species who are evolutionarily designed to hide any signs of disease until the last possible moment to avoid becoming food for a predator. So even a rabbit who seems to be just a little bit off their food could be hiding and masking something more serious. So seek veterinary advice as soon as possible. Well, I think the main thing is that when people take on a rabbit, they don't realise the depth of commitment that they have to put into looking after that rabbit for the rest of its life. And a rabbit can easily cost £9,000 to £11,000 to look after over their lifetime. And it's not just the money. Rabbits have to be fed properly, they have to be given enough space to move around and exhibit normal social behaviour, and rabbits should never be taken on as a single pet. You should always look at keeping a pair of rabbits at the very least. Well, if somebody's having a problem looking after a pet, in the first instance they should really seek advice from a vet or the RWAF to find out if there's something simple, relatively simple, that they could do to help them look after that animal. If they genuinely haven't got the emotional or financial resources to look after that pet properly, then they should look into rehoming and approach a charity such as Wood Green, the Animals Charity, or the Blue Cross in order to provide a suitable home for that animal.
Certainly, one of the things that people should consider is rehoming an animal that's been donated to a rescue centre. And I think there are several reasons. Obviously, these animals need homes, and living communally in a rescue centre isn't going to provide them the individual attention that they perhaps deserve. But secondly, the rescue centres are very well placed in general to place the right animal in the right environment. So you might go in saying, I want such and such, and actually come out with something different that's better suited to your lifestyle and your abilities to care for it. And certainly with the case of animals that are kept in pairs, they're usually very experienced at, for example, bonding rabbits, so that it's not something that you need to do at home, and it's, again, beneficial for the animal and beneficial for you in the longer term.
We would just like to say a huge thank you to our friends at the Blue Cross and to all of our contributors for their valued expertise. We hope that we will now start to see a steady decrease in the number of animals cruelly abandoned. Take care of yourself and your beloved pets.